Good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the country. Welcome to another Friday night sit down with myself, Nadine, and
Nick.
we are going to talk about, as expected, why men and women communicate differently. Okay, we're going to go deep into this. We are going to dissect this to pieces. We are going to finally find out the reason why men and women communicate differently. We're not going to do the stuff that people normally do. We're not none of that ruckus tonight. We're going to actually get to the bottom of this, okay? Have you guys ever had a full-blown conversation with your partner, your spouse, your mate, your husband, your wife, only to find out that they heard nothing that you just told them? Okay, so we are going to visit the age-old conversation or argument that men do not listen and women talk too much. I was tempted to say it another way, but yeah, women talk too much. Okay. So how many of you guys have ever felt like this before? And just a thought, like, what if those sayings are absolutely correct? Or what if those sayings are absolutely incorrect? Just a thought, just trying to put something out there.
So do you think I talk too much?
Do I think you talk too much? Definitely.
It says man talk too much.
No. Did I say that? No, it's not men talk too much.
I'm sorry.
It's no, men don't listen.
I'm sorry. So you think I don't listen?
No, men don't listen. Well, no, this is not why we're doing the topic, but generally men and women tend to believe men don't listen and women talk too much.
Yeah, and that's why I'm asking the question. Is that
this is a personal thing now?
Yeah, that's what
not a generalized.
Do you think?
We're doing a generalized conversation, but if you're asking me the question directly, there are times when you might not listen.
Okay.
There are times when you might not listen. It depends. There are instances when you do listen.
So what you're saying is there's some validity to what you're saying then, right?
Yes, but do you think I talk too much?
Absolutely. That's why I asked that question.
Okay, so there's truth to it, but there might be more, to this whole entire thing. Okay, so let's get into it. What do you think about brain wiring and biochemical interference? What do you think?
So you're for
the male brain versus the female brain.
So you're saying that we're wired differently, right?
Well, I'm not saying that, but let's just talk about that.
Yeah. Well, I think
we're diving deep. We're trying to figure it out, right?
I think men and women are wired a little differently.
Mm-hmm. And I would agree.
So I think we process things differently.
Mm-hmm.
So hence we communicate. That would lead you to communicate differently. So yeah, I do agree that we communicate different. That when it comes to the chemical aspect of it, of how your brain, how the man brain work and the female brain work, I don't know exactly how that works.
Well, let me tell you, women cross hemisphere, so they're able to multitask, and they're using more of emotional pull when they're doing things. So they're thinking on different levels.
Okay.
And men compartmentalize. So they only use majority one part of their brain. Okay.
Majority one part or do they...
So men are left brain dominant is what I'm saying.
So you're saying men can only do one thing at a time?
They don't cross they don't multitask. I mean, this is real information. You guys can go look it up if you don't believe me. But So men are left brain dominant and they compartmentalize things. So they are kind of like focus here, focus
Yeah.
there, and focus. And then women, they kind of sub cross, like they're crossing over.
So they're
So
doing many things at once.
they're doing many
The brain
things.
is going.
They are
constantly.
made to, hence the reason why man definitely needed a woman in order to function on the earth, because I guess God said, okay, I did it this way, now let me do it that way. This will be a perfect equilibrium amongst men and women.
Volunteer a rib.
Yes, to make it work. Okay, so let's talk about hormones. Hormones
So is that's why so that leads me to this point. So
I do have my notes because
do
we
you think
do our research. Mm-hmm.
so because we gave you a rib, does that make us dominant to you guys?
It
To a woman?
the Bible says.
Okay.
Well, it's okay.
We're the dominant species.
Yeah, because men are supposed to be the head, right? So technically, yes, men are the head, right?
Okay.
There's a level of authority.
Gotcha.
So I have
Just
no
wanna make
problem
that-
saying that men are the head. However,
Yeah.
a woman's wisdom is you can't do without a woman's wisdom, right? A woman's wisdom is invaluable, and the Bible says that wisdom is a she, according to the word, right?
So
So we're not trying to do Bible study tonight, but like this is actual and factual information, right?
so does that make a man and a woman equal because I give a rib?
I don't know that I want to answer the question of equality.
Okay.
I believe equality in the eyes of God in terms of one is not lesser than the other.
Gotcha.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
But that doesn't mean one should dominate another as well.
All right.
Right?
Yeah.
There is a lesson of submission somewhere along there because there's a reason why, right? So let's not get into that.
Let's reel it back in.
Let's reel it back in.
It's getting off topic.
So, okay, so medically, we have testosterone versus estrogen. Okay, so those are the chemicals that are basically the deciding factors as to how a man will function versus a woman.
Yeah.
What does testosterone do? It gives a man that kind of ability to protect, to act macho per se, macho, and to take care of what he needs to take care of as far as his family is concerned. Right? I forgot to mention the oxytocin. So the estrogen and the oxytocin work hand in hand. Okay. Now, there's a big influence on empathy and language with that. In general, okay. Based on those hormonal influences, right?
Gotcha.
So, who's more likely to be more empathetic?
Well, I'd say a woman. I would say a woman. I would say a woman.
And I'm giving you the mic like you don't have your own mic. And who is more likely to utilize language more?
I would say a woman.
Okay, so clearly oxytocin and estrogen play a part in that, right? Yeah. Okay, for some reason, that good old testosterone does not comply with much language. You know, I once heard somebody say, I can't remember the exact numbers, that a woman naturally just has more words in a day than a man. And once a man has utilized all of his words.
But I would like even at work I usually make fun of that. I'm like, I'll like at the end of the day I'll be like, yep, I use all my words for the day. I'm not saying anything else. So maybe there is some truth to that. But usually I mean it's fun that I'm saying it, but obviously I guess I'm learning there is some truth to that. But I mean I think
I don't have the absolute study, but
a woman have a unlimited number of words, I guess, for the day, but
It's
for
not
a man.
unlimited. It's probably limited
For a man.
per according to what woman you're dealing with, right?
Like relative to a man, you guys are unlimited.
Okay. So,
For no
ladies,
reason. For no reason.
for no reason,
No
ladies,
particular reason.
when they come home and they don't speak, it's likely that they have used up a lot of their words at work in that given day. So tell your men, stop talking at work. Don't talk as much. Save it for me when you come home so that we can have conversation. So, I
Exactly.
mean, generally, that's a good idea, right? So
Yeah.
that you can have conversations with your spouse. If there is something really truthful about that whole entire study, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's interesting. Hmm. Women also tend to process out loud. They tend to be like, it's hard for a woman to hold it in, so she has to spill it. I can tell you there have been numerous times. And if I think hard enough, I can come up with them very easily.
Yeah.
But I don't have to think that hard. I'm being silly. But there are numerous times when I actually like I want to not say something, but then I have to say it. Can't keep my mouth shut.
Is that a nice way of saying um female lack control, self control,
Nick,
or
you are killing it.
emotional control?
Why are you doing that? No, I don't think it's that because there have been times and maybe I'll get to talk about one of those experiences, but there have been times in our relationship, probably earlier on in the relationship, when things were not going as well. And I absolutely shut my mouth because why? I
So
was being strategic.
so I guess there's so but you said a woman they speak out loud, right? That's what you're saying there?
No, women tend to verbalize more than hold things in.
Okay.
So that doesn't mean lack of control. Again, it's an individual thing,
Oh.
right?
So they're thinking out aloud. They think out
They're
aloud more.
thinking out
Okay.
loud.
So it's not
Yes.
necessarily saying
More
they're
so than
it's
men.
not necessarily saying they're just speaking out. They're just thinking
They
out aloud.
yeah, they think out
Okay.
loud. Now, I think I said that.
While a man will think
Internalize and
and just
compartmentalize.
have it in. Okay. Got what you're
Okay.
saying.
Okay, so he's internalizing, he's compartmentalizing. Like, for instance, we all know that I love home decor. And because I love home decor, I am always verbalizing out loud. I want to do this. I want to do that. I want us to do it like this and do it like that.
Yeah.
And whereas with you, if I give you a honey-do list with a project on it, I think before you start sharing your thoughts with me, you are compartmentalizing and you are internalizing and trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
And you probably mull over that and do it in your head until you have a solution to the problem.
Yeah, because I'm a visual person too, right? So like I'll think about it and try to visualize what it would look like
I'm hoping that
or
they're
what
hearing
it
you. They should.
it is, right? So um in that aspect that's what I would do. I'll try to visualize what it is before and like you said, formulate my thoughts before I say something or before I try to explain anything. So yeah, I don't. But I guess what you're saying is what you guys, you're through the process. You're saying it out aloud. You're not really like, okay, well, you're not playing with it in your.
Mm-hmm.
You're talking it through.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So, like, I'm very expressive, and I will be like, I don't like that anymore. You
Yeah.
know, I'm saying it out loud. I'm looking at it, and maybe randomly one day I'm like, I don't like the way how that looks. I need to fix it.
Yeah.
I may not fix it immediately, but like I've said it out loud.
Yeah.
Most of the time, you've heard what I've thought about a particular thing before you actually see movement, which means that I'm definitely displaying that characteristic of thinking out
Yeah.
loud, right?
Yeah.
And then sometimes Nick comes to me with something I have never heard of the concept, I have never heard of the idea, and it just comes. And obviously, he's thought about it quite a bit. So that's interesting.
Yeah. I'm kind of. It takes me a while sometimes to make some decisions because I think I don't want to say I overthink it or whatever, but I just think of every possible scenario that
Yeah.
I can, just to make sure it's the right choice or the right decision.
Okay.
So
For the podcast purpose, um, let's just think about like, do you think men in general are like that? Just in general, like you're around men all the
yeah,
time.
I think man for man, I think like
Men.
so
Hmm.
man is more of want to solve a problem, solve an
Hmm.
issue, the issue they be, you know what I mean?
Problem
Simple
solvers,
problem solvers.
compartmentalizing the
So I
thoughts
mean, yeah,
and solving
I
it.
think in general most men are like that.
Do you think it is true that they're not multitasking? They're not multitasking. Can't speak. They're not multitasking internally. Like they're just kind of focused maybe on one thing at a time
Um,
to some level.
to some level, I guess, because I
Mm-hmm.
mean, to multitask, especially like that, it's hard. It's not easy to if you have two things that you got to make a decision on. I mean, just to focus on both of them at the same time, it's not. I to me, so I would say yes, just one like
Mm-hmm.
a guy because for me, I don't like to try to make two decisions at the same time or go back and forth. I'd rather focus on one thing and get it out the way, and then focus on another thing and get it out the way.
Mm-hmm.
Focus on another thing and get it out the way. Yeah, I'll
Mm-hmm.
think about it, but I'm not
Mm-hmm.
gonna put the time and energy in that thing unless I'm focused on that one thing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I'm making sense, but that's the way I look at it.
Okay.
All right.
So I think we're spending a little bit too much time on this, but just real quick. When I wake up out of my bed in the morning, when I wake up out of bed, I am immediately bombarded with all sorts of thoughts. Okay, I got to get up. I should read my Bible. I should read my Bible, talk to God a little bit, and pray. I need to, what do I have to do for the day? I have to carry this child to this appointment. I need to get this work done with this child. This one needs to do testing today. Like, how am I going to start the morning? What am I going to give them for breakfast? Like, literally within the span of 5 minutes, I think I've gone through most of my day in my head and made decisions.
Yeah.
And whether I get through it all or not, I don't know. But like when I wake up in the morning, that is how my day runs. And
It's
then I got to tell Nick this, or I got to tell Nick that, or remind him of this, or remind him of that. And even though I write things down, a lot is in this brain of mine. So it's a lot, right? Now, how do you wake up in the morning? I've never asked you that.
so it's and I think
Sorry,
for
I missed the mic.
I think in your case that's a great explanation. I mean, it makes sense because to me I think that's a catch 22, right? It's good and it's bad for me because if once you get up and say you got up and there's something need to be done like
After I thank God,
we
I
need to
do all of this,
yeah
but go
so
on.
but I'm just saying
Hmm.
like we need to get somewhere or whatever, more often than none because you're thinking about so many different things, it holds up your time to focus on that one thing that we need to get here. So I need to do this and go. But because there's so many thoughts and so many things, you get distracted and you want to do this and you want to do that and you want to do this, right? So that's the bad part about it, right?
Hmm.
So the good part about that
Hmm.
is you're you're not leaving anything out. You're getting you want to complete you're completing things,
Hmm.
right? A person like I complete stuff, but for me, like if I'm just focusing on getting out and
He's
just
more
doing
laid
one thing,
back. He's wanting to
one
just
don't
get out.
I do yeah and go. Sometimes some things is not gonna get completed.
And I'm like, okay,
You know
well,
what I
I
mean?
can't leave my bed undone. I cannot
So
leave
it's
the bowls on the table. I cannot leave this mess
so
here, that mess there.
yeah, so in that
So
aspect,
that
it's
does become a problem for me because I do have, so I have had to recalibrate my brain recently and ask myself, okay, what is the most important thing right now? Right now, so that I can get where I have to go on time because I have a knack. And I don't even think it's always me. Even if I leave early, I end up late. Like, I don't even know how it happens. It could just be traffic. It's just so many different reasons, but it's something that I've got to get rid of. So, and a lot of times it's because I'm trying to perfect everything before I walk out the door, which is impossible. So that's something that I'm working on slowly. I'm working on it because you can't change overnight. So that's a rewiring of my brain.
Absolutely.
But he helps because he's focused, and then that gets me irritated because I'm like, well, how do you just want to leave and this and this and this and this? So I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one. If I'm not the only one, please tell me that I'm not the only one, because I'm going to feel like an absolute outcast. But yeah, well, I don't really care at the end of the day because I am who I am. But that's just one of the things that makes me me. And it is so while we have downfalls, the downfalls also make us special, because those are also the things that God has. I wouldn't say in the negative sense it is good, but there's a characteristic in there that is made for something actually good. So that characteristic within me may be the characteristic that keeps the household together, right? So, okay, let's move along. We spent a lot of time there. Cultural conditioning and upbringing. So, boys are taught to suppress their feelings, and they are rewarded basically for doing so. So,
Yeah, I mean, I guess it depends on what how you were brought up.
most men were brought up like
Depends
to
on how you're
suppress,
brought up.
right?
Will like will kind of let you will kind of determine how you communicate with your spouse, with the opposite gender, right? So I know in some society, like a woman is I hate to say it, but like they're treated lesser, way lesser
Mm-hmm.
than a guy, right? You're not don't speak unless you're spoken to, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, it's that kind of situation that sometimes end up
Sorry.
happening
Mm-hmm.
because of how you were brought up and where you were at the time and how that society was. So
I think in a general sense, like let's talk in a general sense and not so like individualized. In a general sense, I think most men were taught basically to be stoic, to be strong, and do not show your emotion, show your strength. Versus women who are allowed to cry, allowed to um allowed to be upset, allowed to show emotion, right? We're allowed to spill. So, just like what we just spoke about, allowed to think out loud, right?
yeah,
I want to cry. I cry, right? We don't have to say it, we just do it. Um so girls are also allowed to articulate their thoughts a little bit more. Would you say so? Men should just kind of suck it up, don't show emotion, and
I mean you hear
don't express words or
yeah,
be short winded.
I mean as a man, you're right. You're taught to be tough
Mm-hmm.
throughout it all.
Short. Let
To
me
be
not
tough,
show you
you
with
gotta
my
be
mouth.
tough.
Let me show you with my
You
hands.
gotta be tough, man.
Yeah,
You gotta be tough. You
that is
can't
so
cry
bad.
for everything. You gotta be tough, right? So, but yeah, that's a whole different topic too. That you could talk about that all day. Is it good or is it bad to be that way? So, but that's not what we're talking about now. So
Yeah, I mean it is what we're talking about.
yeah, but I'm saying like you could go off. We could go off and talk about if is it okay to do that though? There's some negative
Okay.
towards
Yes.
that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's not. But for this purpose of what we're doing here,
Yeah. We're just
you're
getting. I
taught to
mean, we're
be
just getting to the point. The
you're
media
taught to be tough. You're a man.
shows. Yeah, media shows all of these things. Even in today's age, I know there has been more of a pull for men to show emotion,
Yeah.
but there's also an argument that feminizes the whole entire movement, right? Of a man. So a man showing
I think that
emotion.
is silly though, man. a man showing emotion is feminizing him.
Well, I mean,
That is,
there are some people that will feel
I
like,
think that
okay,
is
it's
ridiculous.
it's creating a feminine product instead
It's
of a manly.
weakening the
Yeah,
man.
it's weakening the
It's
man. Yeah.
well, let me not. I think it's silly, but it's just my opinion.
There could be some truth to that, though.
I don't think so.
There could be. I don't know. Like, I don't know. I'd have to like really go into that a little bit more to that argument, but there might be some truth into there might. Okay, let me clarify before you guys come for me.
So this is my thing. This is my thing. So when people do that, you're just saying whenever somebody cry, they're weak.
Okay, so let's backtrack a little bit because I don't want you guys to come for me. Let me explain myself. No, let me explain myself. I don't think there's a problem with men expressing themselves. I don't think there's a problem with men crying.
Yeah.
I think though when it becomes to the level of what you would expect naturally, hormonally from a woman, there is definitely a problem. Some might even recommend that they take additional hormones or get their hormone levels checked. But think about it, like how a woman is during postpartum depression potentially. So you have a man that's constantly crying. That I don't think is normal behavior for a man to constantly, depending on now.
I mean, if you're crying for no reason, it's a problem. Obviously.
No. There's always a reason.
Like, why
even
are you crying?
No, don't say that, because even for women, there's a reason why she's crying.
If somebody see a woman crying for no reason, it's not as
no. But you say for no reason. There's always a reason. Let's get that clear.
Well, yeah, there's always a reason, but I'm saying
that's a stigma. No reason.
A woman, like you said, a woman is more
hormonal
to show their emotions like that, right?
So there are instances when a man might want to get checked, right? Not when it's over and above, like he's treading on a feminine wing here.
Why? Because he's crying excessively.
I don't know. Don't come for me.
What makes you feminine?
Okay, I'm just gonna put this out there. Just over a long period of time, I think most women do not want to like date a man or get married to a man that cries every single day of his life unless it's situational. He's telling her how much he loves her during the wedding. But I don't think she wants, like, if you woke up, I'm telling you right now, if you wake up next to me every morning crying and you don't have a concrete reason, Nick, I'm going to get you checked out. I'm going to get you checked out. But if you cry because...
But you said everybody cry for a reason.
Yes, everybody... No, I said it without a concrete reason. It's concrete...
What would be a concrete reason?
Don't come for me. Listen, we're not going there today because we all know within a level-headed, portion of thinking that there is something that is considered reasonable, right? And some things that are considered... Why are we crying? Oh, you ate my chocolate bar. Like, this is what women do when they're pregnant. Because I've done it before. He ate something that I wanted, and I might start to cry.
So in other words, if you as a female...
Don't come for me tonight.
I'm saying, listen, hear me out. Mm-hmm. If you as a female is competing with your significant other in the emotional department, it's a problem. That's what you're saying?
Oh my gosh, I don't know how to answer these questions. I feel like I'm in front of Judge Judy.
No, I'm just saying I think that's what you're trying to articulate. Like if I'm emotional and you're overly emotional, then there's a problem. Like we can't have...
It depends. Everybody's situation is going to be different. I can't speak for another woman. I can only speak for myself. But if you start to do some of the things that I did when I was pregnant and it's a regular scenario, then we're going to have a problem.
If you as a female is constantly, like what should I say? Like consoling that person in the emotional...
I don't mind consoling you constantly. It depends on why. What are we talking about?
But you want to be consoled. When a woman gets like that, they wouldn't.
I don't have a problem
They want to
consoling
feel.
you.
I
But
know.
Nick, if you wake up next to me crying every single day and you spend your whole day crying and it really is over spilt milk, we're like,
He's too
this
emotional.
is not
He's
normal now because we weren't like this 5 years
with
ago.
that.
We weren't like this 1 year ago, and something has
He's
shifted and we need to get it checked. So maybe you're having a little
he's
testosterone
overly
issue.
emotional.
We're having testosterone
Would you,
issues.
would you say he's overly emotional? He's
Something has shifted. I'm
he's
going to stay
emotional.
safe and say something has shifted.
He's
Now,
emotional.
please comment down below if you guys have anything to input. If you disagree or agree, we don't care which one. Just be respectful in the comment section.
Yeah.
We want to get the conversation going.
It's okay, but
This is
I think
crazy
what we're trying to say is it's okay for some. It's okay for men to show their
to some
emotions at
level.
times, but like I mean, obviously, if it's
Mad is
exaggerated,
not the only emotion
if
for a
it's
man.
superly exaggerated to an extent where it's just not normal, then something is not something is wrong, right?
Something is wrong. I
Yeah.
would say so. Okay, we're watching the time because we do have another child to pick up.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've gone through the language. We've gone through what we didn't talk about. Women might be okay. So we agree that men lack language and potentially lack emotion, right? The emotion might be there, but it just may be a lack of
It's
expression.
not outward, it's inward.
Yes. So, what about women maybe overanalyzing things? Maybe overanalyzing even subtle cues that a man might push forth. So, do you think that that's a thing? Like, do you think? I think there's times depending on a woman's upbringing.
Well, yes. I mean, and like you alluded to earlier, right?
Mhm.
A man needs a woman needs a man, right? Okay, a woman will over analyze stuff, but a lot of times it's handy, right? Because, for example, we're going on a trip, you overanalyze the trip, you bring the whole house in 2 bags, right? And then the guy, he'll just bring 2 things and think he could get everything there.
And then when
And
we
then he
get
gets
on the
there,
trip,
he doesn't have anything, and he's like, "Oh man, I forgot this or I forgot that." You get
yeah,
what I'm saying?
yeah,
So it works hand
both
in hand, right?
ways, yes.
So I mean, there is good to it, you know. So it's not all like,
It's
oh,
not all bad, but
we're
there is
overanalyzing things.
there's truth to that. Okay, so women overanalyze. So another thing culturally, I'm going to say, since we're still on the topic of culture, so we both come from a Caribbean background, right? And because we come from a Caribbean background, I think from a woman's perspective, it makes you, especially when you get into a dating situation with a man or a situation where you and a male are like, trying to accomplish a task of getting to know each other. I think that it made me overanalyze maybe some things. So, like, I'm watching him, making sure his phone is good, making sure he's acting right, making sure he's not. Because in our culture, I'm unfortunately, I have to say it, but cheating is not uncommon. It's not an uncommon thing. Now, cheating is not acceptable in any culture. So
Yeah,
I'm not for
it's
that.
not. I don't think it's just exclusive, but I mean, we're
And
talking
it
about.
happens and for the record, it happens in every culture.
Yeah,
But this was something that was very highlighted to me as I was brought up in my household. And so it was highlighted just from a woman's perspective that you need to like men do this or men do that or men. So then I come along and I'm like watching every like I'm not saying anything. This is where I learned to keep my mouth shut. But I'm watching everything. Like I'm looking, I'm paying attention. So is that over analyzing? That's over analyzing in some instances. In some instances it probably was.
I mean, I think yeah, but also it could be you just being aware. You're just trying to be aware of everything. You know what I mean? You're trying to be aware of everything.
I think most of the time,
You're not super extreme on one thing, right?
yeah.
You're just trying to be aware of everything that's going on.
Yeah.
So So I think overanalyze to me is when you're extreme at one, like you're just looking at this one, like the phone, like you're on the phone and you're fixated to the phone, just
Mm-hmm.
like everything with the phone. If I move the phone here, you're looking at the phone. Somebody, I'm texting somebody, you wonder, I wonder who my text, I wonder who's, like extreme. So I mean, like just to be aware of, okay, that's there, that's there, that's there.
Just give me one
I
second.
don't think that's overanalyzing.
Um, okay, so I guess you
You know,
guys can
so
still hear me even though I'm walking away.
so yeah,
Um,
but
so let's move on to the next topic
so
because the next topic is men want to fix and women want to feel. Men want to fix and women want to feel. What do you guys
yeah,
think about that?
men want to fix and women want to,
Feel.
yeah, like we alluded to earlier, like I mean, we're problem solvers, right? We want to make sure the household is running good. We want to make sure everybody's okay. You know, when it comes to that, not saying that a woman don't, because like I said, you guys, a woman, when it comes to the nurturing part of it, you guys are there. So, well, yeah, we play our part.
Okay. So I totally agree with that. And okay, so let's look at okay. So problem solvers versus the processor. So we're talking about the theory. So she's saying, I just need you to listen. And he hears, you just need me to solve something. Let's talk about that because that's a real thing, right?
Yeah,
I say, I just need you to listen. And you, in your head, are the problem solver. So you're like, oh, yeah, I just need or she wants me to fix something. Sometimes it's not that. But you're very in tune to that. Sometimes somebody just wants you to listen. And sometimes you're out of tune with it. Because sometimes even though it sounds like I might want you to listen, I also want you to fix it.
yeah,
So um so it just depends, I guess, in the moment. Um
yeah. Those are all valid points, man. Like, I think,
Intention versus how
yeah,
it's received.
I think in
Uh-huh.
general, right?
Uh-huh.
A guy is just always gonna want to make sure things are running smooth. So I mean, I agree with that. Like, you know, and then a woman's they want to know that you're giving them the attention, right? You're listening to what they're saying.
Uh-huh.
So
So, do you think it's a difference or failure to understand emotional needs?
say it again.
A difference or a failure to understand emotional needs? Is it a failure or a different, what do you think?
Um, a failure. I wouldn't say it's a failure. I think it's a difference.
Okay.
I
Okay.
wouldn't say it's a failure because I mean, there's no way. Like, I just think it's a difference in how people think. So
Okay. So, okay. Let's basically, let's head to texting, social media, and miscommunication there. So as I thought about this, I just thought about how men and women communicate differently, and even our kids, like our teens. The 19-year-old, for instance, has been in a situation. I know they go through some weird things with the whole social media and the relationship, and their view is very different from our view. Of course, we're mature, but this social media age makes everything very, very different.
yeah,
So emojis, memes, voice notes, they're all means of communication. Um, and it can be misconstrued, right?
of course.
Communication, unfortunately, is lazier, but it is faster. So you can be lazy and
Yeah.
fast. That can
But
be
like you
good
said,
and
like
it can be bad,
I
right?
mean, whenever you're typing anything, it could easily be misconstrued. So
The,
anything you're gonna stream over any type of platform or whatever could easily be misconstrued, in my
okay,
opinion.
the big question, Does this allow men more of a pass, or a pass to like be less emotionally engaged? In a sense, because like if a man, all he's doing is texting,
No, I think
less
that
emotionally engaged.
I would say
Is
yes and
it
no.
pressure
I would
to be
say
less
I would
emotionally
I would
engaged?
say yes and no because you know why? Because you have what if you have a guy that he can't express his feeling to that woman.
Hmm.
He's not that type of person, right? But he could always text and say all these beautiful
Do you
stories and
think, but do you think a man that is not expressive is going to be expressive on the texting?
I think so.
Potentially, I guess.
Yes. Yes.
I guess. Oh
Because
yeah, if he's
because they're
shy.
not gonna tell you. Yeah, they don't want to tell you how they actually feel, but they have all the power in their
I see
thumb.
a problem there because women want to hear
Yeah,
sometimes,
that's
right?
true. But there are people like, but there's guys like that. You know, they don't. They're you know, like, I mean, I I don't know. I think one of my sons is like that. So
But does it?
he'll more text or whatever than he would actually speak out loud. In my
Okay,
that's from what I see.
okay,
Now
okay,
he's young guys.
okay.
He's a
So
young boy.
does a quick response yield that the job is done? So you text me, I text him,
Mm.
he shuts me up with a quickie. Done.
You know what though? Not just before I lost my thought,
Hmm.
right? I think the social media stuff, the texting and all of that,
Hmm.
it's like somebody getting it's like liquid courage, which is alcohol, right? Seriously, like so when a person most time when a person drinks, they have the courage to say certain things,
Hmm.
right? So I think for those introvert or those people who are shy to approach somebody or speak to somebody, that's their that's their little, what would you call it, alcohol or whatever you want to call
Hmm.
it. So so it's just a comparison I'm making that um I think it's like that
Okay.
where they
Does
find the courage through the
through
social
the
media,
social media?
just like a person find the courage to drinking alcohol to
Mhm.
approach somebody or whatever.
So do you think that it makes a woman feel emotionally starved? Like, do you think she's emotionally starved because she's getting, and as you're talking and I'm thinking about all of this, I'm looking at the younger generation, like the
Yeah,
1920s, maybe 16, 17, 18. I don't know
yeah,
how far it spans, but like because of what we have seen in our household,
yeah.
I'm like, okay, so that's what it is. I just had like a light bulb go off. So they're doing this thing where they sleep on FaceTime all the time. I'm wondering if the FaceTime all the time call, like, I want to sleep on FaceTime, which I think is absolutely ridiculous because you're not married. You're not like bounded to each other.
Well,
And
I mean, I guess,
it's cute. It's cute. But like every single night,
but
I'm like clicking off this FaceTime call.
yeah, and I mean,
Sometimes, not all the time.
I'm back in the
Sometimes.
days. I'm back in the days. You know, obviously we didn't have FaceTime, but
Sorry.
people had landline,
It's cute.
and they stay in
Hmm.
landline for hours, and you're like, hey, are you still there? So I mean, it's just
Sometimes
it's
it's
kind of
overbearing because like I'm in my house
like
and I want to be free in my house. And if say I walk into the room to do something and I'm just not looking right for a FaceTime call,
but people do, but that's what I'm saying. Like
it's
in
crazy.
our time, some people are on their phone
Yeah, they did.
long
Yeah,
hours.
we did do. We've
You know
done
what I
all
mean?
night phone calls. Yeah,
Long
yeah.
hours. But now it's
It's
evolved.
FaceTime
Now
and
it's
sleeping with the
FaceTime.
phone. You're right. You're
Now it's
absolutely right.
FaceTime.
I
So
have done it for the record. Maybe how many times have
you know,
I probably woke him up and I'm like, "Why
you
are
know
you
what's gonna
on the
happen
phone?"
next? Next, they're
Turn that
gonna be
off.
in their
Yeah,
virtual headset. That's
that
what's
is
gonna be
true.
next.
I've only
So
done it like maybe I've taken him off the phone a couple of times, but like not. I wouldn't say
it just
chronically.
change is constant. So it's just evolving. Like okay,
Yeah,
now them can now they can see each other. Next is gonna be the virtual headset, and you'll be like, oh, what is going on?
yeah. So okay, so I think the reason why I originally said that I mentioned it, and we're gonna wrap things up very momentarily, but the reason why I mentioned it was because I'm like, this girl's getting a text message all the time, right? One answer text probably, or like very short text. She probably feels emotionally starved somehow, just innately as a
But
female. And then so she needs to be on the FaceTime like the whole entire
yes,
night
but here
because it's more them than the men, the
and
boys.
and this is what I think, right? So because of the time that they're in and and the way things has materialized
Mm-hmm.
with this generation,
Mm-hmm.
they're they're I want to say it's normalized. They're used to that type of communication.
Where they're emotionally starved.
Right. So like us now, like
Mm-hmm.
we're more of a in your face. We need to talk, right? So if we're not doing that, then you feel out of place. So
Mm-hmm.
that's the reason why you're saying like, oh, you think there will be emotion, but they probably don't, because that's all they know. You get what I'm saying? That's all because in their generation, that's what it is. Them, they send a couple texts. They do,
But but the
so
reason why I'm saying they do feel emotionally starved is because they're consistently on this texting thing. So like we have a child that never like that phone, like there's a problem.
yeah,
The phone is never out of the face,
you're
never out of the hand. Fingers are
it's
always going.
that's what I'm
So
saying.
they're emotionally starved.
So it's a device
They're
issue. No, it
starting
becomes
they're being fed by
yeah,
something.
it becomes a device issue now.
Yeah. So
You know,
it's from social
so
media.
but that you don't have to be talking to the same person as long as you have that device doing something on it.
Emotionally starved
Yes,
because
but
they're
not
not interacting with people
yes, but you're not.
interpersonally.
I think yeah, but what I'm saying is you're not directly talking to that one person that we were talking about. Like okay, that if you're in a relationship, you don't have to
They
be.
could be talking to 5 different
That's
females
what I'm
and
saying.
five
You could
different guys.
it could be 20 different people on the phone, but it's what I'm getting at is the device, the instant gratification of that
The
device
wheel is constantly turning.
of
Yes.
getting that, while we were like in our times, it doesn't work that way.
Yeah, I cannot. I would
So
go device crazy if I was. I would be. I would. I would literally throw my phone out the window. Like sometimes I want to throw my phone out the window, and I don't even use my phone. But just the mere fact that your phone is like a tracking device makes me want to just throw it out the window sometimes. So sometimes I'm like, oh gosh, I
so I
wish I
mean
didn't have a phone.
it's I mean it's obviously
Mm-hmm.
it's technology, right? And
Mm-hmm.
like I mean it's good and bad. I remember I did a course good and bad
Mm-hmm.
what of technology and what it is. So I mean
So
there's
there's
always good
some
and bad.
level of widening the gap,
Yeah. There's
emotional gap.
there is and I mean I guess like if you don't know, I hate if you don't know you don't know.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of if you're because this is what they're used to,
Mm-hmm.
this is what this generation is used to. So if you're only used to getting a one text every day, then it becomes normal. It's normalized. You
Mm-hmm.
don't know anything better.
Mm-hmm.
So your mind is not you're not you're not missing anything.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But like us growing up now, if you're used to me, I'm talking to you in your face
Mm-hmm.
24/7. I know you're only getting a one text. It's like what happened?
Yeah.
You're
Yes.
like you're like what happened? I'm only getting a one text. So I mean, so that's the way I look at it.
So okay. So um do you think men could feel like giving too much communication can feel like giving up control? And we're gonna move around along a lot
Yeah.
faster right now. But do you think there's a giving up control aspect of it? Like if I speak too much, or if I say too much,
And
if my emotions are worn on my sleeve, if I show too many emojis, it's like
as a
I'm
man,
giving up
as a
control.
man,
Yes.
yeah. I'm speaking in general too. I'm not going specifically, but
Could
yeah,
potentially be true.
yes.
Okay. So that could be a reason. And for women, the texting could be like giving up a connection, technically. That could be a reason why there is going to be a shift in relational dynamics in the future generations.
Yeah.
There is going to be there has to be a shift just because of social media and technology
But
in
I tell
future
you what, though,
generations.
there is also a downside to it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because you become more needy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because you know that person have a phone and you need an instant reply.
Instant, or else I'm coming for you.
Like
Yeah.
we're in her time, like okay, I didn't hear from her. That person, I didn't hear from her yet, or whatever. So
She might be doing something.
Yeah, she might be, but no,
she might be taking a
but-
bath.
But this device,
Mhm.
I know you got your device, and you could see when somebody reads you, so it becomes an issue.
If that is activated,
It
you
becomes
sure
an
can. Okay,
So it
and
could be
you
a big
bet,
issue.
and then you better have the read receipt on,
Yeah.
or else.
So
Okay.
the neediness went up a notch.
Yes. So we have now rules to this thing. Okay, and what about the power play and so the leads to conversation. So like I guess the power play and all of it, like who interrupts more? Of course that would be me. I'm interrupting more. So that is like a power play type thing. In some instances it could potentially be, or it could just be lack of communication abilities, or it doesn't even mean, I think sometimes I do it because again, my brain is constantly multitasking. I don't think I do it to be rude. I think my brain multitasks. I think my brain multitasks quicker than most people. And I'm not saying that means I'm smarter. I just think my brain jumps around. Like,
no, I think it goes back to what you said earlier. Like you speak out a lot about the process, right?
Yeah.
So if you hear something,
and the power play is who's setting the tone as well.
Yeah, if you hear something,
Yeah, so
you don't want to.
We're on our way. So yeah, and then discuss. So being territorial instead of relational. So like, I'm in charge. Women do that power play, and it's from the beginning of time, right? The power play as to who's in control. When Eve ate the apple, there was like a little power play. If you guys are familiar with your Bible scripture, you would know that in the Bible, like, it is actually a curse, right? When Eve ate the apple, she in some form wanted to have some type of control, right? Mm-hmm. And so a woman will kind of always scoff at a man and always desire some type of control. So that is something that needs to be kind of like, it needs to be something that women are aware of. Okay. So of course God made it women and male on this earth and gave us very unique communication styles. So we definitely have to be thankful for that. And it works. It works in unison to balance the scales. So Eve spoke and felt. And what did Adam do? He worked, right? And both were very necessary. Speaking and feeling are very necessary, and working was very necessary in order to survive. And each communication tool is used in unity amongst each other, not for dominance. So feeling and speaking is not to be used as a dominant form. And working and toiling and compartmentalizing is not to be used as dominant form. We definitely want to hear what you guys have to say about this one. I personally enjoyed this conversation. It's not about it's not about like figuring out who is wrong and who is right, but it's about understanding communication much, much better, right, than before.
Yeah, just taking a different vantage point on it, just taking a different angle.
So we learned that men can learn to emotionally express without losing masculinity, and women can also learn to compartmentalize a little bit more and focus a little bit more, pause, and allow for space and for deeper processing before actually speaking.
So communication is way more than what we think. Mm-hmm. It's definitely deep diving and down into it, and I'm pretty sure we probably just scratched the surface. But I mean, those are some of those talking points we spoke to. Is just some of them, key points. But yeah, as husband and wives, like communication plays a key role in your relationship. Mm-hmm. So I mean, it sound cliche, right? Oh, you gotta have better communication, but it's true. You have to be able to communicate on a certain level to have a successful relationship. Because without that communication, it's no good.
And in closing, the bottom line is unity is knowing, trying to understand the differences, and actually respecting them. So if you know and you understand the differences and you respect the differences, it can make things so much better between the both of you. So that is it. You guys chime in the comment section. We want to hear. Please do not leave us empty. And I will include our personal contact information. If you have any personal questions, personal insight, you are shy and don't want to enter the comment section, that is perfectly fine. But we do encourage you to go ahead, comment. And if you know anybody that would be interested in a topic like this, go ahead and share. We would definitely appreciate it if you could like, so we could be pushed out a little bit more into the algorithm. And of course, we always have our general weekly videos, lifestyle vlogs, faith, family, fun, shopping, decor, lots of shopping, lots of decor and decorating. So if you guys are lovers of interior decorating, or your wives are lovers of interior decorating or decor inspiration, please go ahead and share our channel with them.
Yes, ma'am. It's a wrap.
It's a wrap, and we are out of here until next week. We will see you guys later. Bye.
See you later, alligator.